Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico.
Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you.
And today we are here to end off another wonderful week's worth of content. Well, yes, essentially today we're going to be talking about a funny comparison that I drew in my head, but it doesn't necessarily fully fit. But before we get into that, if you like this conversation, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive lives, weekly videos, and be a part of the live streams that happen every Thursday, 5:30 CDT and 7 p.m. CDT. We have a varied panel with different discussions weekly. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in. I also wanted to say, yes, I got tatted up. I got a sleeve my last Brazil trip, like literally 2 days before I left. I'm only saying that because somebody made a comment going, "Did you get new tattoos?" And I'm like, yeah. So, I don't know if that's going to be where I stop, but 22 plus hours of agony, gonna be a few years before I get a new tattoo. But now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about two very interesting people. One is someone I swore that I would never talk about again, for the sole fact that just looking at this man disturbs my spirit, because he is an admitted PDF file. Nico, I have on video in one of my YouTube videos that is still up that he tried to get Arquez to copyright strike, which you cannot. It's social media. He tries to get Arquez to copyright strike it, where basically he admitted to sleeping with a 17-year-old in California, which is statutory. So we're just going to keep this conversation going. I will link the video like I always do now that I know how to do that. I don't know if y'all noticed my YouTube cards and like suggestions and links are popping up now because I actually know how to do that now. So I'm still going to say alleged. Everything in this video is allegedly, but we have on video of him confirming that. Now, Grayling Purnell, the man who dates 20-year-olds, who dates teenagers, who dates, he is basically under fire with another person who tends to gravitate around young, fly, sexy people, Vinnie Watson. Nico, who is Vinnie Watson? If you were around the internet on the Tumblr era, you know who Vinnie Watson is for the sole fact that he is linked to a fine man called Devin Hubbard. Nico, there's a long history and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you the heads up that I got most of this old tea, like the Tumblr era tea, from a blog called Inside Jamari Fox. I like to give credit where credit is due. He was one of the girlies that was actively documenting these things before it became like very accessible with apps like Big O or Twitter. So I'm going to give credit to the OG bloggers, to the OG tea spillers. I'm always going to do that. Now, Grayling Purnell, if you do not know, is an alleged fashion designer that lives in LA who consistently targets teenagers or extremely early 20-somethings because he himself said he does not date over 25. He likes them young. So he usually ends up giving these boys an air mattress and a tattoo across their face of his name. Nico, and that's what we're gonna leave it at, because there's not much to add. He promises you a dream and you end up with an air mattress in an empty apartment. Boom, bam. That's simple. You're usually discarded 2 weeks after you get that tattoo as well, because you usually wisen up. I've done multiple videos of Grayling Purnell's exes either whooping his ass on live because he tried it, or either getting kicked out because they would not tolerate his shenanigans, because he targets teenagers because he feels they are more easy to manipulate. And now these boys are out on the street with a Grayling Purnell tattoo across their face. So that is the backstory on him. Vinnie Watson is a true sugar daddy. Nico, what do you mean? When he was linked with Devin, when he was linked with the other boy, really fine, I think his name is Ja. I'm going to insert the pictures here. He was taking those boys on trips. He had them drift up. He had them with chains, ice, everything you could imagine. But there's more to that story, and there's a reason why Devin Hubbard, who has rebranded as a heterosexual, sexy, soft dom father of two on TikTok, no longer associates with him.
Fellas, if your message has got through, please do not respond to my story in a flirtatious way. I just don't like that, and I will block you instantly in a heartbeat. You know, it's just been.
And that's because allegedly Devin was, fucking for that money. Nico allegedly, and I'm gonna say alleged because even though we have video evidence of it, I'm not getting caught in no legal situation and I can't post video evidence, of course. So I'm going to say allegedly. So this all started because Grayling Purnell basically compared himself to Vinny and said Vinny was one of his boys and that Vinny was secretly wanting him. And Vinny clapped back and said, "You're a flop. Your engagement is bought. Your likes are bought. Nobody actually cares about you beyond the teenagers that you keep around your home. You're not really a fashion designer. You do not have it like that. And if we really want to talk about it, you're a fan. Everybody that I date, everybody that I come in contact with, they end up telling me Grayling Purnell has reached out to me and he is a weirdo. So don't you ever try to put us on the same playing field." And I will agree with him on that. Because like I said, I'm going to insert the videos. Vinny had these boys dripped out. Vinny had these boys flying around. He had them iced up. They all look good at social events. Grayling Purnell, with every man that he has posted, every teenager, let me put it that way, 20-something-year-old that he has posted, they have been in an empty apartment on an air mattress. And I'm not really a flexer. I don't really care about finances. But my thing is, if you only get a face tattoo of a nigga's name, an air mattress, and public embarrassment from dealing with somebody over and over again, and you can see that that's all he has to offer because that's why all of these 20-something-year-olds and teenagers are pumped out the next week, I don't know why you're co-signing it. I don't know why you're going into that thinking, oh, it's going to be different with me. Vinny, man has money. I'll give it to him. But there is a dark side to his interactions as well. For example, when Devin Hubbard was doing a photo shoot, Vinny decided to go on Instagram Live and give a behind the scenes while Devin was naked in the shower. Clearly, Devin was comfortable because he was looking at his own camera and he wasn't like exposing himself. But Vinny put his whole schmeat on the internet. Then there was another situation where Vinny and Devin Hubbard were in a hotel room and they were naked. Nico, I understand Devin has rebranded as a heterosexual father of two, Dom, whatever the fuck, on TikTok. They were booty butt ass naked. And as soon as Vinny brought that camera out, Devin ran into the restroom. If you were on Tumblr in 2018, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So I just wanted to say there is clearly more to it than just Vinny being a good supportive man that is uplifting young people around him, especially since sex tapes have dropped of Devin Hubbard with men associated to Vinny and vice versa. So I'm just like, clearly he's fucking for money. But at the end of the day, I would rather be fucking for money with a sugar daddy than fucking for money with a Splenda daddy and a face tattoo. That's all I'm gonna say on the situation, because at least we can say about Vinny, he has never targeted someone under 18. At least to my knowledge, from what I've seen on the internet, that has never been in conversation. Him being a sugar daddy, allegedly, sure. Him bagging bi-curious butch queens, sure. That's not alleged, we saw it on tape. But you cannot say that man has done something illegal, unlike Grayling Purnell. So I wanted to come on to say, it's somewhat of a comparison if you took away all the money, all the glitz, all the glamour, and you just left it at a base point of they're dating young people. There's the comparison, but at the end of the day, if you are an adult, if you want to do something strange for a little change, I'm not going to judge you. If you are older, far older, targeting someone for the sole fact that they are emotionally and or sexually inexperienced, I'm going to have second guesses and side eyes towards you, especially with Grayling Pernell, who we've seen time and time again that he has put his hands on these boys, that he tries to demean them and break their sense of confidence so that they adhere to what he says, and he brands them with a face tattoo of his name. This has happened multiple times. This is not even like a joke anymore. Like, he actively comes on and says, if you want to be one of my boys, you have to get my name tatted on you. In 2024, and y'all are still falling for this. I personally don't get it, but that's the information we have at hand. If you know anything else about Vinny, definitely drop it in the comments down below, because honestly, I was tuned in for Devin Hubbard. I didn't necessarily care about Vinny. He seems like a wealthy man. I personally just was there for Devin Hubbard. So if you know anything else about Vinny, definitely drop it down in the comments below. Grayling Purnell, there's not nothing new. Another 20-something-year-old, another 18-year-old girl, it's not new. It's stale. And I actually agree with Vinny. I feel like a lot of his engagement is bought. He says that he's a fashion designer, and I have not seen anyone shout out his brand. I have not seen any fashion shows despite like one image from one about 5 years ago. I don't know. I don't really hear anything from him other than reading tarot cards on Big O and dating 19-year-olds and getting his name tattooed on them. There's nothing else that's out there about him. So I agree with what Vinny said, and there's a slight connection, but a blatant difference. You actually get something out of Vinny. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But with all that information at hand, I'll leave the conversation to y'all. What do y'all think about the situation of younger people and older people coming together with a financial agreement rather than the older party coming to the younger person and trying to manipulate them and brand them with ownership? I feel like the sugar daddy and Splenda Daddy situation is similar for the sole reason that they're both promising these boys the world to come and be with them, while Vinny actually has the access and resources to give that to them. And Grayling Purnell is basically just selling smokes and dreams and uses them for his OnlyFans and then throws them out with a name tattoo. But that's all I have to say at the situation. And I'll see you guys next time. Boop. And now for a brief yet sincere shout out to this week's Third Eye Tier subscribers, Miles T and Spratley. Your support is greatly appreciated, and thank you once again to everyone who supports the channel. And this week's live stream discussion will be sugar daddies versus gay mentors, how there's a blatant difference between helping a younger queer person come into the community versus supplying them with funds for sexual favors. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in.